Hey again, guys, it's Joe from Finding Faith, back with Wesley, talking about the discipline of work in the Christian walk with God.
Thanks for showing up.
So, my last question, I think, is, as we were talking just now, I realized, I think, at least from what I seem to be seeing, part of the problem with Christians not being as disciplined in work seems to come from an impatience. You know, we are called into the gloriousness of salvation, and we get to be sanctified in this life to be prepared for it. And I think that through all of that, we can get a little bit impatient, because we still have to do the things of this life. Some people really don't like eating. I personally like eating, but others don't, and it's a burden to them. They want to live in a world where they don't have to eat. And a lot more people really don't like work and would rather go through eternity without work and would rather just skip ahead to that phase. So Wesley, my question to you to finish things off is, do you think that this is an issue of impatience? And if you do think, like I do, that this is an issue of impatience, how would you recommend that Christians look past whatever the issue is to see how they can be disciplined at their work and take joy in what God has given them to do?
I think it all comes back to the greatest commandment. You shall love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Why would the Christian life take all your strength? I get all your heart and maybe all your soul, but all your strength. Paul describes the Christian life as a race. And I don't know if you've ever run at all. I try and not.
I'm not a big fan of running, I won't lie, but I do still run a few times a week, and I never love it.
You have more discipline than I.
In any case,
when you run, it's not like the only task is getting out the door. That is a Herculean effort as far as I'm concerned. However, when you're going, every moment you have to be pushing yourself forward or you will be stopping. And that's just, evidently true, because you have to continue to push yourself forward to move. But that is what the Christian life looks like. It really all comes back together on representing and honoring God with the little things in our life. It comes back to, I think, trust in God. Is God sovereign? Does he know what he's doing? Paul, again, in Romans tells us, for God has worked all things together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. Do you love God? Is he calling to you? If you answer yes, then you can be in Christ. And in Christ, nothing is meaningless. Even great suffering, that can be used for God to speak through you to other people. Your diligence can speak to God's holiness. And that is what we need to be all about.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think you've given our viewers just a lot to potentially really chew on. And I think that's been really valuable. So Wesley, thank you so much for being on my channel and taking out the time. I really appreciate it.
Joe, it has been, and has always been when I speak to you, a great pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching throughout the series. I hope that the many great things that Wesley had to say have an impact on your guys' work lives as well.
If you have a moment, please click subscribe to Finding Faith.
All right. Thanks again so much for watching. Have a blessed day or a blessed night, you guys.